What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, and not only have Spurs beaten Arsenal 1-0 today, I would say, I'm going to call it Frank's first proper test, Frank's first proper pre-season of the era. It looks as though Spurs could be getting another signing through the door. I was banging on about it the whole of last week, saying we need to get signings in quick. Spurs never do business when they're on tour. After the Morgan Gibbs White debacle, or Morgan Gibbs White saga, everyone was getting all so frustrated about everything, this, that. We've beaten Arsenal, which calmed a few nerves, and I think this news is going to calm a few nerves as well. I am here with my brother Brian Daigle. First and foremost, how rude of me. First of all, congratulations on 10K, and second of all, how are you doing, my friend? I see that smile beaming through the camera.
Oh, mate, I feel like when they say a pregnant woman is glowing, I am glowing with Thomas Frank right now. First of all, I won't go into a long We Are Tottenham TV loving speech. I will just say thank you to the mothership for everything you do for the channel. We love you dearly, and we're always here for you like you are for us. And then let's just say there was a famous song that said, "What a difference a day makes, 24 little hours." Well, hello.
Well, let's get into the news. We've got some up from Ed Aarons, who said that Tottenham are hopeful of completing a loan move for Joao Palhinha after opening talks with Bayern Munich. Palhinha is keen to return to the Premier League, and Thomas Frank is keen to bring him to Spurs to bolster his options in central midfield. And then it got a bit tasty when Florian Plettenberg said that Joao Palhinha is now on the verge of joining Tottenham Hotspur on loan. Negotiations are very advanced. Only final details remain between Palhinha and Tottenham. An agreement between Bayern and Tottenham is almost complete. Contract with Bayern does remain valid until 2028. And then Fabrizio Romano came in with the bomber, and he says Tottenham have agreed personal terms with Joao Palhinha and are in advanced talks with Bayern. Initial loan for Palhinha, and understand the agreement will also include a buy option clause, which is not mandatory. Spurs will cover his salary, and the deal is at the final stages. So, what is your initial reaction to Spurs about to complete a deal for Joao Palhinha?
Well, it's been a player that's been heavily touted, hasn't it? And heavily rumoured around us. I think if people have seen Thomas Frank's pre-match talk, where he said, be aggressive, win the duels, and win the second balls. Well, we did that today, but is that not just Palhinha to a T?
No, it really is.
It's like literally the perfect, like we used to say that Højbjerg was the perfect Simeone player, or you have what he just said there, or what Frank said is Palhinha to a T, and we needed someone with a bit of bite, the one that loves just putting a challenge and getting the ball, and it's on a loan as well. It's a fantastic signing.
Yeah, I really think it is as well. You cast your mind back to a couple of years back when he was at Fulham, one of the best defensive mids in the Premier League, contested one of the most duels in the Premier League at that time as well. Proper aggressive central midfielder, a good age as well at 30 years of age. He can come in, really guide the likes of Archie Gray through in that position in the centre of midfield. It will come with probably a casualty in the midfield, which we're probably assuming it's going to be Yves Bissouma at this moment in time. We're not too sure what's going on with Rodrigo Bentancur, but you do assume that probably it will be Yves Bissouma making way, don't we?
You'd imagine so. That will be we'll have to wait to see. But I think what we've got to remember as well, which is vital for this, is we're in four competitions. And we heard again Frank say in his post-match that keeping them fit, recovery and everything is vital. And having another midfielder, especially for tough Premier League games or very attacking Champions League and Premier League teams, he's going to be that defensive insurance in front of Van de Ven and Romero. There's no downside to this whatsoever, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the one kind of thing I can say on the flip side of that, some people saying that we need more of a ball player in the middle of the park. It's hard for Spurs to progress the ball up the pitch through the central areas. For me, I think he just adds a different kind of profile of midfielder that we've been desperately missing for a number of years. I think that he comes in and adds even more defensive solidity to the team. We saw today against Arsenal, we were structurally and defensively sound, like completely.
Yep.
Arsenal could barely lay a glove on us. And I think if you add someone like a Joao Palhinha, it is going to make us really difficult to beat next season. The one thing I am concerned about that has come to light in pre-season so far is our inability to really create those consistent chances that maybe we saw in the early stages of the Ange Postecoglou era. So I think that bringing in Joao Palhinha adds that steel, that metal, that defensive solidity that we've been craving for, which we saw a bit of it today. But I think after bringing him in, from now to the end of the window, we really need to concentrate on bolstering that attack. And I think if we can get both right, and I think we're getting the defensive side right, but if we can get the attacking side right, I think we're going to be a real big force to be reckoned with. And I think we're going to be, regardless of the attack, I still think we're going to be a really hard team to beat next season.
Yeah, I mean, Ben, when you looked at it, as you were saying, with what Palhinha does and things that may be missing, you look at it, this now puts Bergvall back in the 8 if need be, as opposed to being deep lying. It also, Bentancur was very bright today. We've got Archie Gray who could go along him and play along. I mean, what an education Archie Gray could get from playing along him. We saw, I saw it in the Luton game. Archie Gray was trying and showing a good range of passing. Some of his long balls look good. So maybe that settles Archie Gray down a bit. It adds diversity in the midfield. We were talking like when we were doing even Pape Matar. Look what Pape is doing.
Yeah.
The way they're going to evolve and whatever, we just don't have that proper ball winner, that one that will do the dirty work, the one that will be a little pit bull and just nipping at people's ankles, that will do it constantly. And that's Palhinha. It just adds an extra layer of something we did not have for our midfield, whatever midfield Frank plays. It depends if he goes to a double pivot, if he goes 3-5-2, if it just opens up what he can do with the rest of the squad.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Would you liken this signing to maybe the Palacios signing at that time? Because we were crying out for that defensive midfielder at that moment in time. I believe we've been crying out for a defensive midfielder for a while now. I don't think we've had a proper defensive midfielder probably since Wanyama.
Correct.
And you look at it now, when Palacios came in, I don't even think Palacios was such a great player. And I think Palhinha was a couple of levels above someone like a Wilson Palacios. But he just added that grit to the midfield, which we so desperately needed in that moment in time. And I think actually Joao Palhinha is a top quality defensive midfielder, and he's going to add that grit and that steel and just something that we haven't had for such a long time.
First of all, I have to say I loved Palacios. Palacios, I keep saying, for me, that's the reason we got Champions League, not Crouch's header, which obviously got the goal, but his inclusion in that squad to give that aggression. But with Palhinha, it's the right fit, isn't it? It is. He's come in. It is something that we've needed. It is something we have now got, and it's a good signing. And you look at it. That's what I was going to say. The number 6 that we've been missing has become such a fundamental position and player in the Premier League period. Not just Tottenham have been missing it. You look at it, it has become a real specialist position, and all teams and all the big teams need to have one. That one that will just sit there, and we have been lacking with it. And I think, like you said, since Wanyama, well, we're not lacking it anymore.
Yeah, very true. And you look at the signings that we've brought in so far, that it's going to improve the first team. You've got Joao Palhinha, which hopefully will be online in the next 24 or however long it's going to be. And you've got Mohamed Kudus. I think we can all see so far, even just from the small sample size, Mohamed Kudus is going to have a big impact on the team this season. It's 2 positions that we've desperately needed. I think we've targeted them with precision, and I think we've got them right in the central defensive midfield area and the right wing area. So now it's time, I think, to bring in another attacking mid. And if Sonny goes, we're going to need another left winger. And I think if we bring those 2 players in, then I think we're set for the season, to be honest.
Could Palhinha be sitting on the bench or within the team for the Bayern Munich game? I mean, I don't know with the loan agreement if he'll be allowed to play in that game. I know if it was a European, I don't know how that works in the Champions League.
Season, to be honest, Brian.
But do you know what I mean? So Palhinha could be making his debut against Bayern Munich or even Newcastle. It's going to be great to see. And like we said, now we move on to. It's amazing how obviously we know what happened on Saturday, and we have moved quickly. All right, it's Thursday, but it now looks like our attention lies elsewhere, and hopefully this is the first that start reeling off now. So we are ready for PSG, we are ready for Burnley, and let's hope this is the first of a few more to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Just on the wages side of things, so Fabrizio said that we are going to cover the wages. He's on around 190,000 euros a week, so he will come in straight away as one of our top players in terms of wages. Obviously, if Sonny leaves, he might end up being our highest paid player in the squad, which kind of makes sense with his age, with his ability, and also with his history and what he's done in the Premier League, an experienced player. I think probably the only player you would expect to be on more than him is probably Cuti Romero, and if he's not going to sign a new contract, then I guess it is what it is, isn't it?
Well, I saw when you were doing the Twitter reacts, and you saw that Romero had said something which looked like he pretty much not committed his future contract wise, but looks like he's happy to stay. I mean, the performance he put in today didn't look like a player that was angry, did it? He looked like a player that was hungry, not angry. But if he commits or stays, we got him for another. The future is bright. The future is bright. And now we've got this time to attack the window. What would it be? 4 weeks Monday. Time to do things. But what a day for Tottenham Hotspur.
It's been a great day. It's always a great day being Arsenal, and it's nice to have a little bit of a bomber to sprinkle in there to make us more happy. So in terms of the outlook of the season now and expectations, I think we spoke before the Joao Palhinha, you were saying top 8. What are you feeling now?
I'm changing it right now, not because of Palhinha, but because of what I saw today, 6th. 6th.
Yeah. I think there's no reason why we can't finish 5th this year. I said this on video last week, and people were saying, you're deluded. How do you think Spurs can finish 5th? But you're looking at the competition now. Newcastle are having an absolutely horrific time in the transfer window this summer. They're about to lose Isaac. Apparently, every target that they're going for is falling by the wayside, left, right, and centre. They haven't brought in anyone of note as of yet. You're looking at Aston Villa. They're struggling to do business as well. They've lost the likes of Rashford and Asensio, who are on loan. They won't have them, so their squad is thinner from that aspect. So there's no reason why we can't finish above those two teams, in my opinion.
And Joe, what makes me like what staggered me as well is I watched the interview that Sim did with Robbie. He's concerned what we could do with Frank. Not saying we're going to be up there, but he's like, you'd be a completely different animal. I saw an interview with Lee Judges, who said the same. And on Chris Cowling, there was Kenny Ken, who I know well. He was saying, my God, you're going to be a different animal today. You're going to adapt and have things. So Arsenal fans, I've seen Arsenal fans more worried about Frank than some Spurs fans want to heap praise on Frank, which is mad. But like we said, that's the first sample size of it. And if the transfer market is right and we have players that can adapt to the various systems Frank plays, and as you said at the beginning, defensively, we look so solid. We'll go into it more tomorrow. If that stays like that, and then you put a Paulinho in front of it and whoever else might be coming in, there's every reason to be optimistic that we could be making a surge for that top 6. And like you said, maybe 5th, but I've gone from 8th to 6th. There's still time in the window, but right now it's just a wonderful way to end July.
You know, another big plus of having Joao Palhinha is obviously we're putting a big emphasis on set pieces this season. And not only from a defensive standpoint, I think he's going to be a big plus for us, but also from the offensive phase. You saw how dangerous he was from set pieces when he was at Fulham. Ended up scoring quite a few from getting on the end of corners and stuff. And you saw how we were putting pressure on David Raya today from the set pieces that we were taking. Mickey van der Ven kind of doing that role. And I wouldn't be surprised if Joao Palhinha ends up taking that role.
Could do. Could well do. Like you said, I can't believe the difference in if we just set pieces alone.
Yeah.
Yes, we've had a discussion like over the few games about the style of play and lack of creativity. But one thing you have to take away from all those games is set pieces. We have looked a completely different outfit, both defending them and attacking them. And it's exciting times. And Paulinho, could be another one that could highly benefit from it.
Yeah, and it's mad to think like Frank has only been at the club, well, on the training pitch with all the players for a number of weeks now. It's not
Yeah.
been a long time. Can you imagine what it's going to be like in a couple of months' time? What our set piece is going to like? Because like Frank, he loves to get these small kind of advantages, doesn't he? On any sort of way that he can find it, and a key example of that last season was, he found a way to get an advantage over a kickoff. I mean,
Yeah.
six games in a row they were scoring like in the first minute straight from the kickoff,
Yep.
and then wise to it a little bit. But it's these kind of little small advantages that we're going to notice from Frank, isn't it?
Not just that. Do you know what? I think we've got to give a lot of credit to the coaching staff he's brought. You can clearly see the drills they're doing, and we've spoken about it. There seems to be a coach that each of them know their roles and what their objectives are. They're each at a certain, this is what you're focusing on, and you could see the impact it was having. Justin Concrane, all the others, a goalkeeper coach that we've got from Liverpool. I think we have to look at this. Frank is obviously going to get a lot of plaudits, and rightfully so. But I think for the first time since Poch brought his in, we have a coaching team to be very, very excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I know we've touched on it already today, but I guess on this update we may as well touch on it again. That Romero, that you alluded to before, that Romero did post straight away after the game. He says, "Get ready for what's coming all together this season." So I mean, I think that puts any talk of him leaving. It throws it completely out the window. It'll be interesting to see if the club can convince him to sign a new contract now, but the thing that gets me there is not even just all together this season, but get ready for what's coming. I just love that.
Yeah, but I have to say, one thing with Romero before we talk about that thing, what I did love, and I've watched it back a few times, the nutmeg he did on whatever the player was, that player came in so strong, he actually took out Jed Spence behind him. So it's like, he just went so hard, he was like, see you later, and he just slid in. It went with so much, it was beautiful, beautiful. I mean, what I will say with Romero, it looks like, thank God, we're all worrying all these big bids for defenders. Does that say something? I think what it has shown is he's in a good place right now. He seems to be loving and enjoying being under Frank and the coaching staff. When it comes to does it put to bed, what worries me is obviously Romero seems happy. But if he's not committed, if a monster bid comes in, let's just say a club does put in a monster bid, a 70, 80 million pound bid, will the club refuse it or say, do you know what, you're not signing, we're gonna cash in. But to see Romero saying things like that, to see him playing like he is, to see him smiling in training is fantastic, and well done, Thomas Frank and the coaching staff, because you and I even said, could there be a huge backlash? We were fearing there'd be a huge backlash after the Europa League win and Angie's gone. It's not happened. Yeah, they seem very, very happy. And so far, so good.
Yeah, and it's just going to be, I know we got a small taste of it today, but it's just going to be such a joy to behold to see the likes of Coutinho alongside Mickey van der Ven in a proper defensive structure where they actually train on defending. Yep. It's going to be unbelievable to see all season. But look, that is the big breaking news for today. I'm sure this is going to get more intense and more intense until we get the here we go from Fabrizio Romano. But it looks as though Joao Palhinha is going to be a Spurs player for the coming season. And yeah, look, we've been stung by it before after the here we go. Let's hope this doesn't happen again. And I'm sure it won't, because we've got a very special relationship. You know, we were told that we were going to have a special relationship with Real Madrid after selling Gareth Bale. But it looks as though we actually do have that kind of special relationship with Bayern Munich, because Kane's gone there. We've taken Tell off them with a loan, and then we bought him, and now Joao Palhinha as well. So maybe we do have a special relationship with Bayern Munich.
Once we buy Kane back next year or whatever, then we've got a very special relationship. But at the moment, Tottenham and Bayern is wunderbar, as Jurgen Klinsmann would say.
Absolutely. But big up, Brian. Thanks for coming on today. I was about to say get him to 10K, but you only to get him to 20K.
Yes, to 20K.
But let us know your thoughts on the Joao Palhinha news in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you
Spurs.